Does Troy Dannen's quote from the radio show this week put any pressure on Rhule? And I'll let you go back to what he said.
100. Of course it does. He's the boss. And Troy Dannen on statewide radio was talking about the stadium project. There's gonna be a he's got to raise probably $100 million for a multi-million-dollar project. And he said,
"There's the quote on the screen.
There it is. Thank you, Megan. I want to win." This is Troy Dannen. "I want to win 6 because we're going to start asking people for gifts," Troy Dannen said. "The stadium project will cost a lot of money." What's your estimate on that?
Well, I've heard him casually throw out that he's going to be asking himself from the university and over $100 million on their end.
Okay.
So how much of the rest of it is internal dollars is the question.
Okay.
But Trev's project was $450.
Okay.
I can't imagine this is going to be much cheaper than that.
Right.
Or it's going to be in the neighborhood of what Trev's project was going to cost. Now, they are not going to release the detailed specs and scope of the project until sometime in the first quarter of 2025. And it's got to go in front of the regents again.
Sure.
But that's a lot of pressure because if you don't make a bowl again, what are you selling right now?
You got to ask some, I'll just say disgruntled for lack of a better word. Yes, ask some disgruntled fans for a lot of money. And he says, "I want to win 6. He probably means at least 6, because if you beat, again, I just want to emphasize this. If you beat Wisconsin and Iowa, the way you regard this program and its trajectory would change fairly dramatically. That's the good news. If I were Rhule and his staff, I would cling to that we can change the conversation dramatically.
And both games are winnable.
Iowa
lost its quarterback for the year, Brendan Sullivan. Cade McNamara has been out, might return.
They're down to a guy who's a walk-on who was a 5th-string guy in August.
He moved to linebacker, didn't he?
I think that's a tall tale. I talked to Iowa radio guys, but it's not a tall tale that he was 5th string in August. Okay. So yeah, that's what you're looking at in Iowa. You're not going to get Sullivan. You might not get McNamara. And if you got McNamara, you'd almost feel good about McNamara. So the bottom line is Nebraska's getting 2 teams that are more vulnerable than they usually are.
Yeah. Iowa and Wisconsin in this combo has never been more vulnerable for Nebraska.
Right. So here it is. I mean, we always ask Nebraska, take advantage of these situations, surprise us. What a surprise that would be.
Quit overthinking it. Quit putting pressure on yourself.
Yeah. Thank you, Sean. Thank you. That's a good way to look
at it.
But
again, get off the field. Like, don't do UCLA where you're on the field for 14 and a half of the first 16 minutes.
You said something so critical. Don't overthink it. I mean,
win up front.
Yeah.
Get off the field on 3rd down.
And try to have fun with your guys. Try to have some fun. Too.
Run the ball with physicality.
Boy, just think about if we're playing Coach Sipple and Coach Callahan, but I just say, think about Sunday and Monday if you can beat Wisconsin. How much better that's going to feel.
Oh, that short week would feel amazing.
Yeah.
You're like, let's get out to Iowa.
Let's go.
Our drive on Thanksgiving night is going to feel good. Everything will feel different about this Iowa game. Now, if they lose, imagine the pressure on the whole deal.
This is fun. And if you're Rhule, there's pressure on Rhule. Good. That's fine. Why shouldn't there be?
Well, and look what they lose next year, the roster.
Uh-huh.
And then the schedule next year, they play at UCLA, they play at Minnesota, at Penn State, they host Michigan, they host Iowa, and they host USC.
I know.
So the schedule next year will not be a cakewalk, nor will the rebuild of the roster. So you've got to get something out of this year.
I agree. And I'm not saying when I say there's pressure on Rhule, I don't mean he's on the proverbial hot seat. I don't mean it that way at all. But there's pressure, and you know what? At some level, I bet he doesn't mind or likes it. On some level, you have to like it, I think.
Yeah, and he brought Dana in and did all these things, but yeah, you think about the pressure back to Dannen. Not only that, you're going to eliminate the grandfather ticket thing, and you wouldn't want to do that on a down
meaning
you're basically going to take away the sweetheart prices and make everybody pay full price, which for a lot of people that's going to be a lot more money.
Yeah. Some people won't want to do
And
it.
there'll be some people that say, you know what, I'm good. StubHub for one game a year sounds a lot better than paying this much more for my seats.
Jeez. Pressure. Good pressure. It's good pressure.